A concerned mother wrote into the advice column at Slate about a predicament that she and her husband have found themselves in. Their daughter is single, 40 years old. Their daughter has told them that she intends to become a single parent via sperm donor. And that was greeted with, of course, a lot of joy and excitement until the daughter told her parents that she'd be moving home so that they could help her raise her child while she continued working. So what are your thoughts on this situation?
Just to kick this off and not to start it on a really dark note, but I'm a daughter of a single mother and she did 3 jobs, and so basically she wasn't always there. So for me, being that kid, just imagining that situation, and it's fine to have, grandparents love to take care of kids, but when they're not ready to have it, to be that responsibility for you while you still want to push your career. And that's so admirable. But for me, I would say you got to just be there for the kid. I don't know. I personally think that it affected me a lot growing up. And I always felt like, I really had to get this going on my own. I'm a younger sister of another brother, but I feel like a second mom, which is really insane. So I don't know. I wouldn't kind of, I think I turned out okay, but I'm just saying there's so many times in in my whole life where I was always wanting that my mother's love or anything. And I didn't have my dad around. So it's just completely, it's for me, I'm not trying to, I admire her, she's 40. She really wants a child. But if you're going to give the responsibility almost half to grandparents who aren't ready for that, I find that a little bit selfish personally.
I think I sympathize with everyone involved, just even as a male who thought I was going to be this young, cool dad and not have the cane or the walker at high school graduation. I'm now no longer in my 20s and wifeless and childless. So I understand this drive and this paternal or maternal instinct to do it alone. And if I had the right parts, maybe I'd try to do that myself. So I applaud her efforts. However, the key word here is that she's choosing to do it alone. And it sounds like she doesn't actually want to do it alone. She is now recruiting her parents to co-parent with her. I'm also a product of a single mother household. She did a phenomenal job. And I believe in this idea of a global village as well. But our village is in Jamaica. And so even though she had these opportunities and these offers to send me and have me raised by my relatives, she chose not to. And she chose to have me close and do the best that she could on her own. I think that to have this pressure on your parents, if you will, is certainly a little bit selfish and also not fair, right? There's the willing and the able, and they're not both. They might be able but not willing, or they're our grandparents who are willing but not able for health reasons or whatever. And I don't know how old her parents are. She's 40. Her parents could be in their 70s and just not have the energy to do this.
Yep.
They even said, we've already finished raising our kids. They're done with diapers. The mom said that. We all know diaper duty sucks. And so they're probably if they are in their 70s, which the math would probably say that, they're we're done and maybe we want to travel a little bit. But here's the operative word. This whole thing starts with, my daughter told me that she's moving home. She told me that we're helping to raise her child. And I was just I'm sorry, where's the respect? You don't volunteer your parents that they're going to help raise your child. But if they want to, like you said, willing and able are 2 different things. I want to go to social media for a second because Michelle on Twitter writes, as someone in the same situation, I would never assume my parents give up their life for me to have a child. I know they would help, but I would never expect it. If I choose to have a child on my own, it's my responsibility. So amen to that, Michelle. And shout out to my mom, who was 73 when I had my daughter and said, I will not have anybody else helping you raise your daughter with your husband. You are living with me while your house is getting renovated, and I will be the one to help raise my granddaughter at the beginning. And she did. So a big shout out to my mom. But she told me that she was going to help me, not the other way around.
I think that there's no one happier about the fact that Yasik and I have chosen not to have children than my ma. If I did this,
for sure.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because my mom gets everything that a child would have gotten, specifically money.
Yeah.
But right? But my question though is in thinking about this. So even though I have a ma who would have slammed the door in my face or hung up the phone on me if I ever did this, my question though, and I hear what you're all saying, you all seem to be like, this is outrageous. The parents, they didn't have a choice in this. And whether or not this is a selfish decision on the part of the daughter, 40 years old. I agree, selfish. When is it okay to be selfish if you're a woman in this world, though? Like, if you have to be selfish for one thing, wouldn't it be selfish? Wouldn't it be to be selfish for your desire to have a child when there is not a partner there? That's circumstance. She
Good
hasn't
for
met
her.
anybody. So can't you make a decision to be selfish and say,
Not when it
if
imposes
does
on someone
take a
else's
village-
life.
If
No.
it does take a village, though, she wasn't like, I wasn't asked if I wanted to be born. You weren't asked if you wanted to be born. So is this just the reverse of that? Well, parents, you didn't ask me. I didn't have a choice. So
She has a
can't you just
choice.
help me out on this?
She's making
the
a
thing for
choice,
me-
and it's a selfish
Yeah.
one.
For my
And
parents,
I think it's the confusion around the love language issue, right? Her love language may be acts of service. So she's looking at her parents being like, if you love me, I need this from you. I need your help to raise your grandchild. And I think my issue is her level of anger with her parents who she's no longer talking to. I think it's that level of expectation that is truly the issue in this scenario.
For sure. And I think when we talk about a woman being selfish, I'm like, Mom, you did 3 jobs, you do volunteer stuff. You still, like, my mom wants to hustle. She wants to do tons of jobs still, wants to volunteer. She has no time for me. I want her to be selfish for once. She wants to do her own thing. She wants to get, when everything opens, her hair done. She doesn't have time to just watch like my child because I'm like, I have no other circumstance. So I want to let her be selfish because her whole life she gave to me. So that means a lot to me.
No, and listen, I admire your ma, single ma, raising 3 children. That's amazing. I think for this woman in particular, and this is me being a little bit like of a turd disturber here now, but all we ever hear from parents is that they say to their children, I will help you achieve your dreams. I will give you whatever you want in this life. I will
They're in their
make
70s.
that.
They have given their lives already.
And now
Their
my
lives,
daughter's
they have
like,
given-
my dream is to be a
they have
mother.
given
And you're like, yeah,
decades.
that's your dream. Go get your dream on your own. I don't know. This is a little bit confusing, parents. Do you
No,
want to
it's
help your
not.
kids to achieve their
You're a
dreams or don't you?
Grown woman, let your parents live
Just
now.
saying, I'm
Yeah,
not a
let
parent.
them
I don't have to
live.
deal with
Let
this. I don't have
them
to deal
live.
with this.
Let them live.
But
Anyway,
make up your mind,
Let
parents.
them live. Thanks for being a turd disturber. That's why we love you, Lainey.